All right, so here we go again. Another so-called racist attack that Trump is supposedly using on Cory Booker to scare white suburban women. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman, and you are watching a Black Conservative Perspective. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to my shit right now. And most importantly, share a Black Conservative Perspective. Let's get it. All right, watch this video that President Trump did with Laura Ingraham regarding the suburbs.
But for women, more than anything else, they want security, they want safety. They have to have safety. They talk about the suburban woman. What I did recently, I ended the regulation that provided low-income housing that mandated low-income
That was Obama's
housing.
rule.
That was the Obama rule. It was a disaster.
Do you think the suburbs are in danger if Biden is elected?
yeah,
We already know the
because-
cities are in
okay,
danger, but
so-
are the suburbs in danger? Because they say that's fear-mongering on the part of
I know the
Republicans.
suburbs. Look, Westchester was ground zero, okay, for what they were trying to do. They were trying to destroy the suburban, beautiful place, the American dream, really. They want low-income housing, and with that comes a lot of other problems, including crime. May not be
You're
nice
not
to
saying
say,
all
but
poor
I'll
people
say
are
it.
criminals, though.
No, I'm not saying that at all, but it does. There is a level of violence that you don't see. So you have this beautiful community in the suburbs, including women, right? Women, they want security. I ended where they build low-income housing project right in the middle of your neighborhood. I ended it. If Biden gets in, he already said it's going to go at a much higher rate than ever before. And you know who's going to be in charge of it? Cory Booker. That's going to be nice, okay? So I think that women are going to want, well, for a lot of other reasons.
The part where it starts to get racist is when they're talking about zoning laws and policies that the Democrats, specifically in the Obama administration, was pushing in order to reduce discrimination in housing, and asking, municipalities to essentially be more cognizant of the disparities in their communities in regards to housing. Right? So basically, Trump makes a comment about how Biden is going to allow low-income people to move into the suburbs by implementing zoning policies that are going to lower housing prices and essentially allow for those people to come into the community. And then he also mentions Cory Booker as somebody that they're going to put in charge of this type of program in the Biden administration. Now, I've heard him say this before in reference to Cory Booker, and I kept hearing it over the past few months, but I haven't really, thought about it because, again, I'm not the type of person that's going to accuse somebody of racism just because they say something that may be controversial. But this is what the liberal media is doing, right? The liberal media is saying that what Trump said is racist. Because look at the big black man that they're going to put in charge of your communities, right? So they're saying that Trump is trying to use a racist argument to try to use black men, Cory Booker, to scare white women, right? Now, regardless of how you feel about the actual zoning laws and policies, what I really want to focus on is just this idea that Trump is some type of racist because he's using Cory Booker as somebody to scare suburban white women. First of all, he was talking about women. Do black people not live in the suburbs? And see, this is the thing that liberals don't understand when they start making these arguments. You're making assumptions about black people right off the bat, that all black people live in the inner city, right? That the black people don't live in suburbs. I've been in plenty of suburbs. I'm talking about very affluent suburbs. I mean, we're talking about $1 million houses up, and there are black people that live there. I mean, we talking about suburbs, and we're talking about places where, you actually have impressive houses if it's worth, $250,000, $300,000, $400,000, like in the South, where I'm from, which is the South, right? I've seen those neighborhoods where there's plenty of black people, right, in those neighborhoods. Right? So when he's referencing the suburbs, why is it safe to assume he's just talking about white women? Because this is not the 40s and 50s, right? Where, you know, a lot of these problems originated when there were policies that specifically benefited white people moving into the suburbs, right? That happened, right? But this is not that time anymore. So for the media to use this argument to try to say that Trump's trying to scare suburban white women is just disingenuous. And it gets better, right? If you just Google Cory Booker, he has done a lot of work in reference to affordable housing policies, right? So it's not like he hasn't done a lot of work with that, right? In that realm, right? And then second of all, in 2009, after Obama was elected, he asked Cory Booker to lead the White House Office of Urban Affairs, in which Cory Booker turned that role down. So to sit here and assume that Trump is racist because he's touting Cory Booker as somebody that the Biden administration would put in charge of these type of policies is ridiculous. Considering that if you know Cory Booker's record, if you know his stature in the Democrat Party, if you know that Obama had asked him for a leadership position in that office back in 2009, it makes perfect sense, right? He would be the perfect person for a job like that, considering his actual record on these issues, right? And Trump knows that. But see, again, this is how the liberal media who accuses conservatives of being racist, this is how they use their racism. It's covert racism, where they just automatically assume that the suburbs are just white women. Do you think that black women want low-income people moving into the suburbs? Do you think any people that live in the suburbs will want people of low-income housing to move into the suburbs? Do you think that anybody living in the suburbs will want their housing values to go down? Nobody wants that. So to assume that Trump is being racist because he's talking about suburban women and talking about how he's against low-income people moving into these suburban communities, to assume that he's automatically just targeting white women is racist in and of itself, in my opinion. Because you're assuming that black people don't live in the suburbs. The only place black people live are inner cities. Also, you're assuming that low-income people are just black people. Black people are just low-income people. As if there's not more poor white Americans than any other race in this country right now. This is the tricks that the media uses, right? This is the type of stuff that they'll say and they'll present to people to say, oh, Trump's racist. He's racist. He's using a black man to scare white women. It's so disingenuous. This is not an example of racism. This is an example of Trump having a position on the policy, knowing that the Democrats love Cory Booker, knowing that Cory Booker has a background in this type of policy, and reasonably extrapolating that if Biden's elected, Cory Booker may be in charge of this type of stuff, considering his record. That's not racist. That's just using common sense. That's just being informed about what your opponent may or may not do if they get into office. So again, somebody tell me, if this is racist, let me know. In the comment section, if you think that this is racist, let me know, because I don't see it. I don't see the racism here. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Get in the comment box, like, subscribe to my shit, and most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.